Hello, we are interns at SNR Analytics and we are here to present on the topic robotics and automation. My name is Rohan and I'll be presenting this topic along with my co-intern Prem. So, our topic is, as I mentioned earlier, automation and robotics. So first we'll look into the definition of automation. So by definition, it is the technology with which a process or a procedure is made to do automatically without human intervention. So automation, as the name suggests, we are making the process automatic. And robotics, what is robotics? It is a multidisciplinary field which involves use of mechanical engineering, computer engineering and electronics engineering or electrical engineering, in which we are studying the design, construction, operation and application of robots. Now what is a robot? It's a machine which is made to do complex or simple actions without human intervention. So it's a machine which is performing as if a human is performing, similar to that. So robotics is done. So how are they related? So first of all, automation, as we have seen, as I have said earlier, automation is making a process autonomous, that is making it work without any human assistance. So robotics is making use of a robot. Let us take an example of a line follower robot. So line follower robot follows a particular line. So this is not autonomous because the action of the robot, the line follower robot, is to follow a particular line. That is just an action. That is not a task. The task is, if that line follower robot is made to pick or place a product, that is a task. And when that line follower bot is made to do a task like pick and place the product, then that is automation. So not all robots can be used for automation. Only the robots which is, not all robots are come under automation. Any robot which is made to perform some valuable or important task is automation. So why do we use automation first of all? So automation is mostly used when the task which we are doing is repetitive, mundane as in dull or boring. So automation is used. The process is usually time consuming. And second point is, it is usually we implement automation to deal with bottlenecks during production. Now bottleneck is a delay in the process, production process, due to inefficiency of a certain process. Say suppose the production of a material. So usually what is done is inspection is done manually. So because of that, inspection, because it is manually and it should be thoroughly done, the entire process is delayed and the products are stacked up before the inspection process. So to avoid this thing, we use automation, that is we can implement automation in inspection process. So this way we are increasing the production time and decreasing the effort. Now automation can be physical or virtual. So physical robotics we'll see in industrial automation and virtual robotics will be under software automation. So first we'll see industrial automation. So there are two types of automation which is used in the industry, any industry. First is industrial, that is physical. We can see these automations. These are hardware. These are actual automation which you can see, usually gigantic. And this is software, which is virtual. We cannot see these systems. These are actually computer programs. That is hence the name software automation. So these are used in IT or analytics firm, and these are used in mechanical or production or electronics, any manufacturing firm. So industrial automation are of further three types: fixed process, programmable and flexible. In fixed industrial process, the system which we are using will have a fixed setup. Example of this will be special purpose machine. I'll explain these three using an example of my phone. So suppose I have to manufacture a phone. So in my case it is Redmi Note 4. So for fixed automation, fixed industrial automation, my setup will be such that it will manufacture only this model, nothing else. It may be the same brand, but if the model is different, it won't be able to manufacture it. The setup is customized as per the dimension and the specification of this model, very specific model. So properties of fixed setup industrial automation is the variability is extremely low because we are fixing the parameter. The entire model is very specific. However, the productivity is very high because we are focused on only one model, one product. So therefore the productivity is extremely high. Productivity, that is rate of production, is extremely high, but variability of the product, that is the change in design, change in the product design, change in the machine itself, machine design, so that is very less varying because the whole setup is specific. In programmable, this is the most commonly used system. Programmable. So under this we have a regular CNC or any automated drilling machine, say anything. So this is used for batch production or mass production. So in batch production, say this is Redmi. So in batch production, it will be producing this thing in batch. So suppose this is one model of Redmi. So another model will can also be manufactured in programmable. Programmable means we can customize it using computer programs. It is somewhat more flexible as compared to fixed. But however, so in programmable we can make changes in the product, but however we cannot change the entire product. Like I can manufacture a Redmi 4, I can manufacture an iPhone, but I cannot manufacture a TV in the machine. So that is programmable. It has more flexibility than fixed, but not as much as flexible. Customization is more, and productivity is obviously more because that is the reason they are used in batch or mass production, because once the settings are set, the productivity is extremely high. Now flexible is fully customized model. Fully customized as in the variability is extremely high. So the variability is extremely high. That is, I can make anything, a mobile, a TV, anything, but the productivity is extremely low because I am varying my product itself. So it will be it will vary very highly. Productivity is very low. So the application is, it is usually implemented for products which have customized design as per the customer's demand. It is not used for mass production or batch production, since the whole setup can vary. So next part is RPA. So now, okay, software, we have missed this part. So software, this was physical part, physical automation. Now this is the software automation, that is virtual. So again there are three types: RPA, BPA and IPA. RPA stands for Robotic Process Automation. Basically what happens here is we are implementing this automation at the interface level of a system. We'll see that in the later part, and actually in the focus of the presentation will be RPA. So we'll be seeing this in the later part. So RPA is basically we are replacing the human as a worker. Suppose consider the case of data entry. So in case of data entry, a human enters the data from the file, any document. So in RPA, the role of the human of entering the data into the system is replaced by a robot. So that is why Robotic Process Automation, hence the name. The process is robotic and it is automation. BPA, in BPA it is similar to programmable. The whole thing is automized. In RPA we change only a process. Suppose in case of data entry, so only the data entry process is automized. But in case of business process business process automation, the entire system is changed. I'll give an example of Google car, so with which you can understand. So consider the Google car. It is a usual car, normal car, but with an AI in it. So it is a case of RPA because it is driving on the roads which we humans can also use. And it drives like as if a human is driving. We are not changing the roads, we are not changing the infrastructure of the civil society. We are just changing the driver. In case of instead of human, we are replacing it with a robot. So that is an example of RPA. If it were a BPA, we would have to change the entire roads, entire transportation infrastructure, and we would also have to customize the vehicle as per the automation criteria. So BPA is extremely expensive. However, the productivity will also increase because we are automizing the entire process. But it is also expensive. At the cost of expense, we are increasing the productivity. So it is preferred only in case of, say, multinational companies. It is a cheaper alternative for BPA. And in case of IPA, it is an extension of RPA with machine learning. So in RPA, as I have mentioned with an example of data entry, so we are instructing the robot with some task to do and we are specifying that task. So the robot knows what to do exactly. In case of IPA, we are just giving some initial instruction. After that, what inputs to take, what output is to be given is derived from this concept machine learning. So basically this is RPA plus AI, and full form of IPA is intelligent process automation. As the name suggests, the system is intelligent. So the advantages, we can rely on RPA for complicated process which even humans can do manually. However, the issue is we have to implement machine learning, which is again a complex concept. So we usually deal with RPA because it is a cheaper alternative to BPA as well as IPA. So in the next session of the presentation, we'll see what exactly is IPA, where is it used, when is it used, benefits and drawbacks of this automation, robotic process automation.
Okay, now we're going to talk about what is RPA. Now throughout the session, we are going to go through a few questions. First is, what is RPA? Then we're going to talk about when to use RPA, then why we need RPA, and how is it going to be applied. So first, we're going to answer the question of what is RPA. So basically, RPA is a tool that allows us to create special robots or agents that can help us do clerical tasks. So what are clerical tasks? So basically, clerical tasks are any tasks that are very redundant. For example, data entry, file processing, displaying data. So these are clerical tasks. So that is what is RPA. So just a tool that allows us to create these agents. Next question is, okay, we'll come across these later in the presentation. Okay. Now we're going to talk about what's the difference between RPA and automation. So we know automation is just the fact of creating a streamlined process. So now we need to understand what's the difference between RPA and automation. So with this, I'll explain with the help of a diagram. So in regular automation, we have different systems, and I'm going to give this explanation based on software automation and versus RPA. So in current systems, we use many applications, say A, B, and C. And in order for these applications to interact with each other, they need API calls in order to exchange data. But the thing is, the difference in automation and RPA is that in automation, you need to include the integration in the data level. But whereas in RPA, this is done on the user interface level. So the user interface level is a level that we as humans can see. For example, the presentation layer, Okay, so now that's the reason why these bots replace humans, because we as humans, we only interact with the user interface layer. We do not interact with the data level layer. So that's why, that's the advantage of using RPA over regular automation, because the regular automation, you have to include it in the data level layer, whereas this, we interact with the user level layer. Next, why? Now we'll answer the question why we need RPA. So the first point is, this is using regular automation is technology dependent. So if you want to integrate something, you need the technology that you're integrating has to be compatible with the IT infrastructure. But whereas RPA, it is independent, meaning it can work with any type of IT infrastructure that you have. It can be legacy, it can be current, it could be like the latest technology. So that's the advantage of using RPA over regular automation. The next point is, it's faster rollouts. For regular integration, it takes a lot of time to integrate into the current infrastructure. But whereas RPA, it's very fast to build, and it's very easy to implement as well. Then talk about what are the RPA tools available. Okay, first we have programmable. So programmable RPAs are basically, if you're familiar with languages such as C# or Visual Basic, then you can use those languages to program your RPA. But this requires coding, and most of us, we do not want to follow this method. So therefore there's another option, GUI. So graphical user interface, this is another option where you drag and drop. Okay, and drag and drop options are very easy because it's very intuitive. You know logically what's going to happen. So you just have to drag your commands into and create a workflow that it will follow. Okay. Okay, and the next is recording. Okay, this option is very easy because if some of you are familiar with Excel macros, so what happens is in Excel macros, you just hit the record button, you do your daily tasks, and it programs itself how to perform those actions. So that's a recording feature in Excel. But you see RPAs, they are like the next generation of macros, because these macros, they are applicable only in Excel, but RPAs, they are applicable between applications. So that's the big advantage of recording feature. And the next one is self-learning. Self-learning or intelligent systems. So now this self-learning is very similar to recording, only that in recording, you whatever it is that you're recording, you know like how it's supposed to be done. Whereas self-learning, you do not know which parts you want to automate. So what self-learning does is it basically records the whole session. So me as a user, I don't know which parts are better to automate and which parts to just not automate. So what this will do is it'll just record the whole session, like many hours, and then it will decide which ones to automate and which ones not to. And this uses methods like OCR, which is optical character recognition, which is another AI ML technique. And it also depends on screen scraping. So basically in the presentation layer, we just see images. So what this does is it analyzes what is shown on the image on the screen, and then from that it will make conclusions. So basically uses optical character recognition. Okay, now we're going to talk about what are the different types of bots. Okay. And by bots, I mean what the RPA software creates to do the clerical tasks. So whatever it is that we create, those are called bots. And these bots basically represent the humans, because we as humans, we interact with the presentation layer, and these bots will do the exact same thing. Okay. So now there are basically two types. Attended and unattended bots. So what are attended bots? Attended bots are basically bots that we as humans have control over. Like we can decide when to start it, when to end it. But whereas unattended bots, it happens on the background. For example, if you have batch processes, so like when you go home at night, you can start these unattended bots, so they will do the work on the background. But whereas on day-to-day basis, where we have to like say, okay, now this bot has to be active, then those are called attended bots. So basically attended is we have control over when to start the bot's activities, and unattended, they happen on the background for batch processing. And batch processing is basically like many tasks that does not need human intervention. It can just be done straight through. So it can be done in the night. So that's where we use unattended bots.
So now Prem has explained about the what and why. Now I'll explain when. When are we supposed to use RPA? So first criteria is there are some problems which the company, suppose a company is facing these following problems which I'm going to tell. So RPA is going to solve those issues. Problem one is the process which they are doing is manual as well as time processing. Suppose, consider the example of data entry. So data entry is a laborious process as well as a time consuming process. The user has to enter the data from a paper, anything, any source. So he has to enter all the data manually inside the system, So robotic process automation, what it will do is, it will replace the human with a bot which will scan the data using, as he has mentioned earlier, OCR, optical character recognition. So using that, it will enter the data, and the efficiency of the robot will be much higher than that of the human performing the task. So that is one case. Second case is the working hours. Suppose the working hours is 24/7. So there can be two possibilities, the working hours of the process, anything it can be. So it can be either 24/7 all-time working hours, or it can be regular office hours. The task is which is to be performed. So if it is to be done during office hours, then a human can do the process, because it is convenient for the human, and the robot is not needed basically, because humans, the officers, the workers are available during this hours. But what if the task is to be done outside this office hours? Say the office hours is 10 to 6. What if the process is to be done at 11 p.m.? So in this case, this will be 24/7 process. So for this, robotic process automation will be used. That is, this process is not manually controlled. So it can work autonomously even during day or night. It is not time dependent. So it is used where 24/7 working hours is required. And third is, we have structured data. Structured data, a simple example will be PDF files or Excel files, anything it can be. So, and for structured, if we are dealing with structured files, in case of data entry, it will be Excel files. So RPA can be used for organizing structured data, and in case the file is not structured, we can convert it using OCR. Next point is the volume. So first we need to make sure that the task which we are doing, is it worth implementing RPA. Suppose the task which we are doing, suppose this data entry, considering this example, so this itself is time consuming, very time consuming, and it is laborious, then RPA is feasible. But otherwise, if it hardly takes 1 hour or 2 or 1 or 2 hours or 30 minutes, then RPA is not a feasible solution. Why? Because it is extremely costly. Why costly? How costly? RPA vendors like Blue Prism sell it for $15,000, which is equivalent to rupees 10 lakhs. So this much amount we are spending. So we need to make sure we are using it to the maximum. So the work which you are doing should be worth 10 lakh rupees. Next point is legacy system. So in case the system is outdated, like someone is using say Windows XP and he can't afford to upgrade it, so only thing we can change is the user interface, the interface level worker. That is, in place of human, we can use RPA, and with this RPA, the legacy system user can keep up with the technology despite having an outdated technology with RPA. Next point is characteristics of RPA. Now what we have answered when. Now we'll move on to characteristics. First characteristic is it is code free. As it has been explained earlier, it has a very user friendly GUI, meaning it can be used by anyone. The person need not have programming background. It can be used by anyone, marketing department, anyone. So it is code free. Second point is multiple system. So RPA can access multiple systems at any time. For instance, I have a data in PC1, then PC2 can also access this data from when RPA is used. So the information which this is processing, it can be done for many systems at once. It need not be installed just on one PC. Next is non-disruptive or non-invasive. It is basically free from human intervention. As the name suggests, it is automation, so there is no human intervention involved. So because there is no human intervention, that is, the human is not working, so it is also less likely to have errors like typo. So in case of data entry, so in case of data entry, there is a chance that there might be a typo in the name. So this case will not happen in case of RPA.
Okay, now we'll talk about a simple application of RPA technology. So now one example could be, like, say for example, like customers, they keep asking a lot of questions to companies, such as, like, they ask questions like when is it open, the office, like. Okay, now a small example would be incoming customer email query processing. So what happens is, customers, they have a lot of questions they want to ask the company, such as when is the office open, where can I find these products, where are your locations. So like manually we have to reply to those emails, but whereas when you use RPA, you can find out what are the common questions, such as people most of the time ask, where are you located, what are your office hours. So simple questions like these, they can be automated and they can send emails back to the customers. So this process can be automated, whereas if they ask questions that are not frequent, then those you can manually answer yourself. So this is one application of RPA.
Excellent.
So far we have seen what was RPA, how exactly it was implemented and when was it implemented. This was just a brief overview of the field robotics and automation, and we chose to go into details of RPA. So concluding, we can say RPA is a better alternative as compared to BPA and IPA, because what we are doing is we are replacing the human with a robot, and by replacing the human from this tedious task and replacing it with automation, the humans whose jobs have been replaced can be allocated to some department which is more innovative or useful in, like, say, research and development. So RPA is the future of the world, and while implementing this, will also make sure that humans are free from this monotonous, repetitive, dull job, and they are more likely to spend their time with their family and their work and innovation. So this way, by implementing RPA, we are also promoting development of technology. Thank you.